How are you guys all feeling today around the world? I was reading the comments while watching the videos. It was cool. I saw Leanne said, I wish I'd done this 2 years ago. And then Becky's like, I wish I'd done this 20 years ago. But this is the deal. You're here now. You're doing it. You guys are part of this, and it's so much fun. I hope you guys have been enjoying everything. I can't believe we're on day number 5. Again, I talked about this earlier, but it's just crazy how much time and effort we go into thinking about this and planning it and preparing it and creating it for you guys. And now we're almost to the end. Obviously, it's not the end. For most of you guys, this is the beginning of our journey together as funnel builders, certified partners to help you guys, which we're really excited for. But almost the end of this challenge. We have obviously today happening. This weekend, we have a really fun sprint we're all going to be doing called the Money by the Weekend Challenge. Monday, we're going to come back and kind of share some stories and a bunch of other cool things. And then at that point, like we're back to the real world, which can be either really exciting or really scary, depending on everything. But I'm really excited. I'm really proud of you guys for everything you've done this week. It's been really cool to see and to watch and to experience. And so I'm grateful for the VIP sessions too. I've had a lot of fun with these. Hopefully you guys have as well. VIP for me is my favorite stuff. I don't get to talk about a lot of the personal development things very much. And so whenever I have a chance to slip these things in there, they're my favorite because I think they're the most important things, right? The skill sets you guys are going to be learning are amazing. And they're step by step, but if you can unlock your mind, unlock your false beliefs, unlock those things, like that really is the secret to being able to do all the other things, right? They become easier. And you may be wondering, like, why is that? Like, why is it that our psychology matters so much? And so we're going to talk about it a little bit today. And I'm going to share some cool things. This is something I did an event. We have a personal development company called Secrets of Success. And I did an event called the Self-Persuasion Masterclass. And it was like an 8-hour long event. It was supposed to be a 3-hour event. I went for 8 hours because I have this thing about over delivering. I just kept going and going. But there are a couple pieces from it that were really powerful. So I was kind of preparing today's VIP. This is our last official VIP session together. So I was like, well, what should we talk about? Like, how can I help you? What's the best, stuff I can share with you? And so I pulled some really cool things from the Self-Persuasion Masterclass to help you guys to persuade yourselves to do what you know you need to do. And so that's going to be kind of the game plan. So, all right. Oh, I should. Ray has said, yes, I wish I did this 10 years ago. Since it's the 10-year anniversary, I ended up signing up and saving my spot last night. Insanity to make the same mistake twice. Thank you, Russell, Todd, and team. Congratulations, Ray. So cool. I love it. Okay, so we're going to dive right in, you guys, and have some fun for the next 45 minutes or so. It's a VIP session. So I want to lead with, a lot of you guys know my favorite author is a guy named Napoleon Hill. Most people know Napoleon Hill because he wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich, which is a great book. But he actually wrote a book that's better, okay? My favorite Napoleon Hill thing that he ever wrote is a book called Outwitting the Devil. And if you haven't heard the story of Outwitting the Devil, it's really cool because Think and Grow Rich is like all the things you need to do to be successful, right? Here's all the different laws to do to be successful. But Carnegie, when he hired Napoleon Hill, when he gave Napoleon Hill the commission to go write the first ever philosophy on personal achievement, he told him, he's like, you'll actually learn more from people who failed than you do from people who are successful. And so Napoleon was studying both sides of it. And the year after he wrote Think and Grow Rich, he started writing this other book called Outwitting the Devil, which basically was a conversation he was having with the devil, asking the devil, like, how is it that you trick men into becoming what he calls drifters and drifting away and being lazy and not doing the things like their divine potential and not living up to what they were called to do by God? And he's asking the devil this question. And in this book, if you haven't read it yet, it's like a court scene where it's like he can't perjure him. The devil can't perjure himself. So anything that Napoleon asks the devil, he has to tell him. And what's crazy is Napoleon wrote that book a year after Think and Grow Rich, and he never published it. He was too scared that he thought if he was to publish this, it would ruin his reputation. And if you read the book, you'll find out why. Like, he goes deep into like churches and schools and how the devil uses them to affect the minds of men. And so back then, especially in the 1920s, like it could have been career suicide. So he never published it. When he died, his wife, Annie Lou, gets the manuscript. She reads it. She's like, I'm not publishing this. So she hides it away. After she passes away, the foundation gets it. And the president at the time reads it. He's like, I'm not publishing this. And it wasn't until, I think 11 or 12, maybe 15, I don't know, 15 years, whatever it was, recently, it finally got published. And it's the best thing Napoleon Hill put out. If you have a chance to read it or listen to the audiobook, listen to the audiobook because you can hear the devil and Napoleon debating back and forth. It's really cool. And if you do read a book, read the Sharon Lechner edited version. It's by far the best one. Just putting that out there. But anyway, we did an event this year in Mexico where I told a story about Outwitting the Devil, and then we actually took part of the conversation and we animated it. So this was our first AI project ever. Nowadays, our team's really good at AI, but this is the very first one. It is insanely cool. And so we took this one part that I thought was fascinating. So Napoleon Hill asked the devil, says, tell me all of the tricks by which you enter and you control their minds. Like, how do you control the minds, man? What do you do? And so I'm going to show you guys this one little scene here where Napoleon Hill's interviewing the devil. We animated it to make it a little bit fun, but you're going to find out what is the number one thing the devil is going to do to try to control your mind. So here we go.
I have uncovered the secret code by which I can pick up your thoughts. I have come to ask you some very plain questions. I demand that you give me direct and truthful answers. Are you ready for the interview, Mr. Devil?
Yes, I am.
How do you gain control of the minds of people?
Oh, that is easy. I merely move in and occupy the unused space of the human brain. I sow the seeds of negative thought in the minds of people so I can occupy and control the space.
You must have many tricks and devices by which you gain and hold control of the human mind.
To be sure, I employ tricks and devices to control human thought. My devices are clever ones, too.
Go ahead and describe your clever tricks, Your Majesty.
One of my cleverest devices for mind control is fear. I plant the seed of fear in the minds of people, and as these seeds germinate and grow, through use, I control the space they occupy.
Tell me first about your most clever trick, the one you use to ensnare the greatest number of people.
If you force me to give away this secret, it will mean my loss of millions of people now living, and still greater numbers of millions as yet unborn. I beg of you, permit me to pass this one question unanswered.
So His Majesty the Devil fears a mere humble earthbound creature? Is that right?
It is not right, but it is true. You have no right to rob me of my most necessary tool of trade. For millions of years I have dominated earthbound creatures through fear and ignorance. Now you come along and would destroy my use of these weapons by forcing me to tell how I use them. Do you not realize that you will break my grip on every person who heeds this confession you are forcing from me? Have you no mercy? Have you no sense of humor? Have you no sportsmanship?
Stop stalling and start confessing. Who are you to ask mercy of one whom you would destroy if you could? Who are you to talk of sportsmanship and a sense of humor? You, who by your own confession have set up a living hell on earth, where you punish innocent people through their fears and ignorance. As for minding my own business, that is just what I'm doing when I force you to tell how you control people through their own minds. My business, if it can be called a business, is helping to unlock the doors of the self-made prisons in which men and women are confined because of the fears you have planted in their minds.
My greatest weapon over human beings consists of two secret principles by which I gain control of their minds. I will speak first of the principle of habit, through which I silently enter the minds of people. By operating through this principle, I establish, I wish I could avoid using this word, the habit of drifting. When a person begins to drift on any subject, he is headed straight toward the gates of what you earthbound call hell.
Describe all the ways in which you induce people to drift. Define the word and tell us exactly what you mean by it.
I can best define the word drift by saying that people who think for themselves never drift, while those who do little or no thinking for themselves are drifters. A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind. He would rather let me occupy his mind and do his thinking than go to the trouble of thinking for himself. A drifter is one who accepts whatever life throws in his way without making a protest or putting up a fight. He doesn't know what he wants from life and spends all of his time getting just that. A drifter has lots of opinions, but they are not his own. Most of them are supplied by me. A drifter is one who is too lazy mentally to use his own brain. That is the reason I can take control of people's thinking and plant my own ideas in their minds.
All right. How cool is that? I want to go like re-listen to the book this weekend now. So, but what he said, the devil said, my greatest weapon over human beings is I established the habit of drifting. On day 1 and day 2, I talked about this concept of resistance, right? Where as we're going through things, we hit this resistance, and the resistance is like this pressure, this thing that's keeping us from doing the thing we want to do. And I always think about like resistance and drifting, not as the same thing, but resistance is hitting, and the goal of resistance is to get you to drift. For you to say, I'll do this later, I'll do it tomorrow, I'm going to do like, whatever it might be. It tries to get us back into drifting. And drifting, he says, is a habit, right? The habit of drifting is this thing that we get stuck into. And so this is what, again, this is a fictitious conversation he's having with the devil, but it's so powerful when you think about like his goal. If he can get you to drift, to not do what you've been called to do, to not step into your divine potential, to make your choices and your actions based on fear instead of moving forward with faith, like that's how he controls the minds of men. And it's one of my favorite things. And so for me, it's like whenever I think about that, I think about the times in my life when I'm drifting, where resistance is hitting me and it's causing me to drift. Like, what are those things happening over and over and over again? And how do I beat that? And for me, it's probably true for all of you guys. Like there's some areas in your life where resistance and drifting never affects you, right? Like maybe you're amazing at your relationships and you're like, man, in my relationships, I'm amazing. But over here, I really struggle. In business, I struggle, or I struggle with my health, but I'm really good at this. Maybe I'm really good at my health. Like I never drift. I hit the gym. I do everything. But when I try to like focus on a business, I struggle. And so for all of us, like we have things in our life where we're amazing and we can like, we smash through resistance. We're never drifting. We're always someone who's driven, but other areas of our life, we struggle. And so for me, I always think about that. Like, I think I talked about in day 1 or day 2, like sitting back and being like, okay, what are the, how do I feel about myself when I'm all by myself? And for me, when I'm sitting there thinking about those things, a lot of times those conversations are coming back to this of just like, what are the parts of my life where I feel like I'm drifting, where I'm not doing what I'm called to do, where I know that my divine potential is higher, and how do I get out of this drifting mechanism that keeps me held back? And so that's what I want to talk about today is how to overcome those things, right? And I'm first to share off something. This is a framework that again I taught during the self-persuasion masterclass. I said there's 3 levels of persuasion. And this is what most people understand. And I think when you start understanding this, it'll help you to break free of the ones you get stuck at. Okay. So 3 levels of persuasion. So the first level of persuasion is what I call sedation. This is where someone has already become a drifter, right? You've already been persuaded and now you're stuck into this habit where Napoleon Hill calls it hypnotic rhythm. I think about hypnotic rhythm like this trance that we're in, right? Where we're already in a spot where we're drifting, we're sedated, and you can tell the pattern of people that are in sedation. It's like they're the ones who they go about their day doing what they need to do, and then at night they come home and they're trying to figure out, how do I sedate myself out of the pain that I'm in, right? They know they're not happy, they're not achieving what they want to do, and instead of like confronting that reality because it causes pain, they sedate themselves and to give themselves pleasure and dopamine hits to be able to sedate and cover the pain and to hide it. Okay, a lot of times people who are full out drifters who are living in sedation, these are people who have alcohol addictions because the alcohol numbs the pain. They have pornography addictions because it numbs the pain. They have eating addictions because it numbs the pain. Like they find different vices in their lives to numb the pain so they can just feel sedated, to get out of the pain, but then they're stuck into this long-term drifting, okay? They've already been persuaded. And unfortunately, this is where the majority of human beings live, okay? Now there's this next tier of human beings, and these people I love the most, right? These are people who are the dreamers, and they rely on motivation, okay? But the motivation is coming from external persuasion. Sedation, they already got persuaded. Motivation is like, I can do it, but I gotta go to a seminar or an event, and then I get motivated, right? I'm a dreamer. I'm the dreamer. I got the vision. I got the dreams, and they're looking for this hit, this motivation to get them to happen, which is great. Okay, I'm obsessed with it. I love motivation. I love external persuasion. I'm a dreamer. I listen to podcasts and YouTube videos. I go to seminars. I go to events because I love that feeling of motivation. Okay, but there's a problem with motivation too. The motivation is there when the external input hits, but when that external input disappears, motivation wanes, it goes lower, and we slip back into sedation. Okay. There's a quote from T.E. Lawrence. He says, "All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their minds wake up in the day to find that it was in vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dreams with open eyes to make it possible." Okay, so nothing wrong about being a dreamer, okay, to have that motivation, but you have to be careful because they're the ones when they wake up, they missed it, right? And he says, the dreamers of the day, these are the dangerous men. So what is a dreamer of the day, right? It's not someone that's just dreaming about things and thinking about it. It's the people who show up, who are making it happen. It says they may act their dreams with open eyes to actually make it possible. And so to be able to do that, you have to move past this need for constant external persuasion, have external people persuading you and motivating you, to the third level, which is self-persuasion, okay? This is where you have to figure out how to persuade yourself, okay? If I look at all the things in my life, I think the reason why I've become most successful is because I'm really good at self-persuasion. And I learned this at a young age as a wrestler, okay? As a wrestler, I had a vision, I had a dream, I had a definite purpose. I wanted to be a state champion, okay? Now, for me to be a state champion, there's a lot of stuff I had to do, okay? If you've anyone here, any wrestlers in the room, if you're a wrestler, type in cauliflower ear. If you guys know what cauliflower ears, this is how you know they're a wrestler, if their ear's a little jacked up, okay? For all my wrestlers, wrestlers know about this. For those who aren't wrestlers, let me tell you what wrestling looks like, okay? Wrestling is a thankless sport, okay? You don't get fans that show up like basketball or football or anything else. Like, you don't have fans, right? You might get your parents in the stands, but that's about it, right? With wrestling, like my wrestling room was underneath the basketball court. So like we could hear the basketball players upstairs having fun, playing basketball, shooting things. They'd get drinks during practice. We were down in the wrestling room with the heaters on, and we were wrestling because I would come in on Monday weighing 160 pounds, and I had to weigh 130 by Thursday for weigh-ins. So I was down there in this musty, dark room. I had to put on plastics while I was wrestling to sweat out 30 pounds of weight every single week in and week out for a decade of my life to get down to weight, right? You cut down to weight, and then you get back, you'd weigh in, you drink a bunch of water, you swell back up again, you wrestle your match, and you go back, and this was the cycle. And it was not fun. It was not exciting. There was no motivation, okay? There's no one down there saying, like, you can do it. You can lose 30 pounds again this week, 18 weeks in a row, right? I had to get really good at persuading myself to be able to do that, right? And I had to know the dream and the vision and the goal, and I had to be obsessed with it because there was no external motivation getting me to lose, 15, 20, 30 pounds every single week in and week out, right? To show up to a tournament or to a match where there's nobody in the stands who cares if you're there or not. It has to be internal. It has to be you. And so when you master self-persuasion, it is the key. That's what the driven do. They persuade themselves. I think about our business, right? Like when I was building ClickFunnels, when Todd and Ami and all of our partners at the time, like when we were building this thing, like we didn't have external, there weren't people outside like, oh, good job, you're doing it. Like none of that. It's quiet, right? There's nobody in the stands cheering for you, right? There's no motivational speech. Like me listening to motivation may give me a hit of an energy, but for us to do what we needed to do, like we had to become driven. We had to learn how to persuade ourselves. Okay. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Yeah, someone says, do wrestlers have eating disorders? 100%. People are like, it's not healthy. Of course it's not healthy. Like we know that. But to be able to do what we wanted to do, it was essential. Anyway, sorry, I saw that for a second. So I'm gonna talk about self-persuasion. And again, I could talk about this for days, but I want to give you guys the highlight reel of the things I feel are the most important, okay? First thing about self-persuasion, it comes back to one of Napoleon Hill's laws of success is you have to have a definite purpose, okay? You have to know what you're going for. Most people in life live in this circular motion where like, yeah, I'm trying to make money. Oh, I'm trying to lose weight. Napoleon Hill said you cannot do that unless you have not a purpose, right? I'm trying to lose weight. That's a purpose. He said I need a definite purpose. He says there's one quality which one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose. The knowledge of what one wants and a burning desire to possess it. Okay. For me, when I shift from, I'm a wrestler, I'm wrestling every single day. To me, learning about and seeing one of my friends, someone from my team win the state title, and he got his hand raised, and it shifted from like purpose, I want to be a good wrestler, which is a purpose, to a definite purpose. I said, I want to win the state title next year. Definite purpose, right? When I started my business, I was trying to figure out how to make money on the internet. That was my purpose. And it wasn't until I saw John Reese, the guy 20 some odd years ago. He was the first person in our industry to sell $1 million worth of his product in one day. And I saw that. And instead of me saying, I'm trying to figure out how to make money online, I looked at it, I said, I want to figure out how to make $1 million in 12 months in a calendar. I don't think I can do it in a day like he did, but my definite purpose, I'm going to make $1 million in a year. And when I told people about that, they thought I was crazy. Okay. Nowadays, you see people make a lot of money online. Maybe it's less crazy, but 20 years ago when I was like, I'm going to make $1 million a year in my business, that's my definite purpose. People were like, okay, my friends, my family, they thought I was crazy. They were wondering if I was going to get a job, but I had a definite purpose. Okay. I knew exactly what I wanted to possess to win. I had a definite purpose, and I had a burning desire to get it. I wanted that, right? It was not an external motivation. It was internally, like I wanted that so bad. I could taste it. I could feel it. I could smell it, right? When I think about wrestling, like when I wanted to be a state champion, champion. Like, that's all I could think about. I go to bed at night every single night, and I would visualize myself getting my hand raised. Like, I'd recognize the look, the feel, the taste, the smell, like everything that's in that moment. I felt it over and over every night before I went to bed until my junior year in high school when it actually happened. And I remember when I won, getting my hand raised, and I was just like it was the fulfillment of this thing I'd been dreaming about for so long. Okay. And so motivation will like get you that, like self-persuasion. So the first thing to be able to have self-persuasion is knowing exactly what you want. Okay. Not saying I want to lose weight. I want to make some money. I want to try to like sell a funnel. Or I'm going to try to turn this into business. It's like, no, like if I have a definite purpose, like I'm going to win my 1 Comma Club this weekend. Okay. I'm going to get my bronze badge within 30 days, within 22 days, like a definite purpose. And after you have it, and you have to create a burning desire to possess it. You got to think about it. You got to eat it, sleep it, drink it. Like it has to become an obsession for you. Okay. When it becomes an obsession, you don't rely on external motivators, right? You have it. So my question for you guys is, what is your definite purpose? Okay. Not long-term, like someday in my life I want to be successful. It's got to be something you can go for and achieve now. Right. So if I was you to have a definite purpose, like what's going to be between now and Monday? What's your definite purpose between now and the next 30 days? What's the definite purpose between now and the next 6 months, next year? Like start looking at those milestones and make them a definite purpose and really figure out exactly what it is. Okay. Chizzy just said bronze badge in 7 days. Boom. Okay. Think about it. If Chizzy gets their bronze badge in 7 days, they just 2x their investment, right? Because bronze badge is after you made $10,000 in sales. So 7 days wants to double the ROI on the investment. Congratulations, Chizzy. That's a great one. All right. Now you're all coming in. Yeah, 21 days, Ray says. 21 days. 21 days to what? Be very, very specific. 20 days to the bronze badge, to the 1 Comma, to get your investment back. How do you get obsessed over everything you want? Think about anything in life. How do you get obsessed about anything? If you want a brand new car, if you look at it, like, oh, it's a car, whatever. If you want to be obsessed with it, you got to look at it, think about it, go test drive it. Like when I got obsessed with my wife, I was calling her, I was looking at pictures of her. I was like hanging out there, I was going on dates with her. I got obsessed with wrestling. I showed up every single day. I thought about it. I dreamt about it. I watched videos about it. Like the obsession comes because what's going to happen, the obsession doesn't start day one. Like there's a spark that happens at first, right? So right now you guys have a spark. And the way you turn a spark into obsession, you take the spark over here and you find other people that are obsessed, and you take your little match on a spark, and you find a campfire of obsessed people, and you bring them together, and you become obsessed with it. That's why community is so important. Like I had a bunch of guys on my wrestling team who also were possessed, right? Who also wanted, not possessed, obsessed, and we all wanted together. So we spend time together, and like this spark I had became a flame and an inferno that I couldn't stop thinking about. We built ClickFunnels with my team. We brought ourselves together. We were all obsessed. We talked about it. We told stories about it. We visualized what would happen. We talked about the future. Like we got so excited, right? Like that's how you turn the spark into an obsession. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to tell you a couple other cool stories that kind of go into this. So there's a guy. So Napoleon Hill, we talked about him. He was, an amazing rider in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and stuff. But in the 60s and 70s, there was a guy who became the voice of personal development. He wrote a couple books, but he was known for the microphone. He started out as like an actual, back, the TV shows, you have actors, they had radio shows back in the day. So he was a character in this radio show, and he had this amazing voice, and people started liking him, and they eventually gave him his own radio show, and he would use his radio show to talk about personal development, to teach ideas and principles and concepts. To me, his name's Earl Nightingale. And I'm going to tell you guys a really cool Earl Nightingale story, and then we're going to watch a couple of videos. But Earl Nightingale, again, was on the radio every single day talking about personal development, sharing these things. And then on the side, he owned an insurance company. He had a bunch of salespeople, so he'd train them, motivate them, get them out selling insurance. And he built a really good business. And after a couple of years, he wanted to take a break. So he decided he had a boat he liked to sail. And so he's like, I'm going to go on a sailing trip for 3 months. I'm out. Peace. So he's about to leave on this 3-month-long hiatus. And again, this is like in the 60s. So remember, he didn't have a cell phone or, there's no way to text people. He's like, I'm going to be gone for 3 months. And his assistant that ran the insurance company is like, that's awesome. But while you're gone for 3 months, how am I going to motivate these salespeople? Usually you would come and you would do this motivation for them, right? And can you create something for them so that while you're gone, they can listen to it and keep selling, right? He's like, oh, sure. So we sat down and he wrote this script. Right? He wrote this whole thing down. And then he called it The Strangest Secret. Then he went into his recording studio, sat down for his microphone, and he recorded him reading this script that he wrote called The Strangest Secret. He then took that, I don't know if they call it burned it or pressed it onto a record, gave it to his assistant. He told her, like, go make some copies of this for the sales team, and I'll see you in 3 months. So she's like, okay. So he does that. He takes off, jumps out on a boat, and he's gone. She takes this record, burns it, gives it to the salespeople to go listen to it, right? So salespeople listen to it, and they're like, this is amazing. And so every salesperson this person would like show it to somebody else and they would listen to it like, that's amazing. Can I get a copy? They're like, yeah, call his assistant. She'll make you one. So they would call the assistant like, hey, someone just let me listen to the Strangest Secret record. Can I get a copy? And they're like, she's like, sure. So she made a couple more, and then it started going viral. Okay, again, this is before the internet, before everything. This record starts going viral, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, somebody sends it to the record station that Earl worked at. And since Earl's gone for 3 months, they're like, we should play this. And so they push play on this record, and they play The Strangest Secret over the airwaves for millions of people to hear. And they all freak out and start calling the station saying they want copies. And this poor assistant who's trying to help manage this little sales team is getting flooded by calls and fax and phone, like all these things begging for copies. And so she starts selling these copies, and eventually she gets overwhelmed because of it was happening. And she starts getting sales people like, stop selling, I need help burning these records. She's burning records, they're shipping them out, and just this, it becomes this production line. At the time, Earl Nightingale's on a boat, has no idea this is happening, right? And so 3 months later, he gets home from the boat, he pulls into the dock, he looks out, and the entire dock is full of people, and he's thinking he's getting arrested. Like, what happened? And he gets off, and the dock guy is like, he asks the head of the dock, he's like, am I under arrest? And he's like, no, but you should probably call your assistant. So he dials up a payphone assistant, like, what's happening? And she's in tears, like thinking he's going to fire her because she's like, no one's selling insurance, they're selling these records. And she tells him, he's like, keep shipping the records, I'll be there soon. And he gets there a couple days later. And what's crazy about it is they sold so many records. And number one, when Earl Nightingale left, he was a successful businessman. When he came back, he was a millionaire. That's number one. Number two, it was the first time ever that a record that wasn't entertainment or music had sold over, I think, 1 million copies, whatever, and became the very first time ever that Sony Records gave it like a gold record for an audio, like a spoken word audio, which is kind of cool. And the coolest thing, though, is some of you guys know I collect old books and manuscripts and things. Recently, I actually acquired from his wife the actual gold record. Do you guys want to see it? If you want to see it, type Strangest Secret in the comments down below. It's going to freak you out because this is one of the coolest things I've ever acquired. I'm so excited. Let's go straight. Okay, check this out. I have it right here. So this is the actual gold record that Earl Nightingale got. It says, presented to Earl Nightingale from Columbia Records for The Strangest Secret, the largest selling non-entertainment recording of the record industry, August 29th, 1971. How cool is that? Freaking out. Anyway, I'm such a nerd. Someday you guys have a chance to come to my library and see all my collections and geek out with me, but okay, so I'm sharing that because there's some clips I want to show you guys from The Strangest Secret to help you to unlock some stuff. How many of you guys have ever listened to The Strangest Secret? Okay, if you haven't yet, it is insane. It's only like, it's not that long, but it is so cool. So I'm going to play a couple parts. So this is Earl Nightingale. There's the record. I'm going to play the very first part because it has to do with definite purpose. Okay, and so this is the one clip. I found a YouTube video where they were doodling it, so I got you the doodle, so it gives us little animations we're going through here. So check this out. This is the very first part from The Strangest Secret. Has everything to do with figuring out your definite purpose. Here we go.
Have you ever wondered why so many men work so hard and honestly without ever achieving anything in particular, and others don't seem to work hard and yet seem to get everything? They seem to have the magic touch. You've heard them say that about someone. Everything he touches turns to gold. And have you ever noticed that a man who becomes successful tends to continue to become successful? And on the other hand, have you noticed how a man who's a failure tends to continue to fail? Well, it's because of goals. Some of us have goals, some don't. People with goals succeed because they know where they're going. It's that simple. Think of a ship leaving a harbor, and think of it with the complete voyage mapped out and planned. The captain and crew know exactly where it's going and how long it'll take. It has a definite goal. Now, 9,999 times out of 10,000, it will get to where it started out to get. Now, let's take another ship, just like the first, only let's not put a crew on it or a captain at the helm. Let's give it no aiming point, no goal, no destination. We just start the engines and let it go. I think you'll agree with me that if it gets out of the harbor at all, it'll either sink or wind up on some deserted beach, a derelict. It can't go anyplace because it has no destination and no guidance, and it's the same with a human being. Now let's get back to the strangest secret in the world, the story that I wanted to tell you today. Why do men with goals succeed in life and men without them fail? Well, let me tell you something which, if you really understand it, will alter your life immediately. If you understand completely what I'm going to tell you from this moment on, your life will never be the same again. You will suddenly find that good luck just seems to be attracted to you. The things you want just seem to fall in line, and from now on you won't have the problems, the worries, the gnawing lump of anxiety that perhaps you've experienced before. Doubt, fear, well, they'll be things of the past. Here's the key to success and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about. Throughout all history, the great wise men and teachers, philosophers and prophets have disagreed with one another on many different things. It's only on this one point that they are in complete and unanimous agreement. Listen to what Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, said. A man's life is what his thoughts make of it. Disraeli said this, everything comes if a man will only wait. I've brought myself by long meditation to the conviction that a human being with a settled purpose must accomplish it, and that nothing can resist a will that will stake even existence for its fulfillment. Ralph Waldo Emerson said this, a man is what he thinks about all day long. William James said, the greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. And he also said, we need only in cold blood act as if the thing in question were real, and it will become infallibly real by growing into such a connection with our life that it will become real. It will become so knit with habit and emotion that our interest in it will be those which characterize belief.
All right. Strangest Secret Part 1. We guys think about that. Was that pretty good? Okay. So we are what we think about all day long. For a ship, if it doesn't have a rudder, it doesn't have a goal, destination, it can't get where it's going to go. And the same thing's true for you. So number one is, what is your goal? What do you actually want? Be as specific as humanly possible. When you figure out that definite purpose, okay? The reason why we give you guys all these awards is not because I care if you win awards, right? I care because it gives you a definite purpose, right? One Common Club, this entire event was like, give them a definite purpose. If they have a definite purpose, they can achieve it. If I don't, if I'm like, hey, come learn about funnels, there's no definite purpose. So we focus on this. Now there's a definite purpose, right? You look at the entire certification program, bronze badge, gold badge, diamond, like everything but definite purposes, right? 2 Common Club award, boom, boom, boom. If you look at it over my shoulder here, you can see the 2 Heart Award, right? That's if, after you donate $1 million to charity, you get one of these 2 Heart Awards, which is insane, right? And so it's like we always set these different different landmarks, these goals, because it gives people in our community something to shoot for and strive towards. So for you guys, like, leverage those things we put out there, make the goal, associate to the awards, the challenges, not because the awards and challenges matter, but because it gives you direction, it gives you rudder, it gives you a reason and a thing to run towards. And then, like he said, you are what you think about all day long. So you got to create that obsession by thinking about it over and over and over again. Okay. So that's the first part. Okay. This is a very conscious thing for you to consciously choose the thing you want, right? The greatest thing about our conscious mind is it gives us the ability to choose, like whatever our dreams are, our purpose, like we get to pick that consciously. Now, the second part of this, and again, this I could go on for a month and a half. Like, second part of that is our subconscious mind, right? Or also called our default mode network. Okay. So what happens is, even though we consciously choose to want something, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go do it, because we have this like internal default mode network. Also have your subconscious mind, which is all of the things that like all your life experiences have created these subconscious patterns. Okay. And you think about this in any area of your life, like the very first time you learned how to tie a shoe, right? You get down here and you got to consciously learn, like, hey, if I got to make a loop and then swoop and I got to do the thing and then I pull it, right? And you do the first time, you do the second time, but you keep doing it over and over and over again. And what happens is your subconscious mind, your default mode network, you do it a bunch of times in a row and it starts learning this is how you tie your shoe. And then it's like, okay, now I got it. Next time you tie a shoe, you don't consciously think about it. Like your subconscious mind has a pattern, has a hypnotic rhythm, whatever you want to call it, has a habit that works. And so you just, anytime I shoe, like your brain just like shuts off and it goes to the default mode network, tie your shoe. Okay. First time when we bought this office, I would drive the office. First time I figure out, how do I go? Okay, turn right here, turn left here. I got to remember how to do it consciously, right? I do it the first time, second time, third time, and eventually my default mode network knows exactly how to do it. So I jump in a car and boom, I'm good to go. Okay. So initially we consciously choose things, but over time, by doing the things over and over and over again, it creates these patterns, right? And sometimes those things are positive, sometimes they're negative. I always think about these patterns as like ruts, right? Like a tractor. Like the first time a tractor drives down a thing, it's like, you have to drive it, consciously steering it, but you do it over and over and over again. It eventually creates these huge ruts, right? And then I can literally start the tractor, I can put in the ruts and jump out of it, and the tractor's going to go make it all the way to the end because the ruts are there, right? So that's your default mode network. Now, Now, what's interesting about that is that sometimes this is going to serve you in a really good way. Sometimes it's going to hurt you in a really bad way, right? Because sometimes you create good habits and good patterns. So you think about the parts in your life, like if you're really good at health, like you've created patterns and habits. Your default mode network gets you to wake up, gets you to go to the gym, gets you to work out, and gets you to eat healthy because you built those things, and it happens subconscious, and it's easy for you. Okay, but some of you guys, health stuff's really, really hard. Okay, but you're really good at relationships. You got the best relationship with your wife or your kids, whatever, because you've mastered that. You've got the ruts dug perfectly, and it's awesome. Okay, but the reality is that usually most of us don't have the perfect default mode network at all things, right? We have these things that are messed up. Okay. And sometimes, most of the time, for us who are starting businesses, we choose a goal. We want to hit a 2 Comma Club award or get our 1 Comma Club or our gold or whatever. And so we have this conscious choice we want. But the problem is that over time, we have these ruts. And so even though we decide we want this thing, when we start moving, pursuing it, we slip into these ruts and we get drawn away and we don't have success. Okay. It can be from a lot of things. Like society does not necessarily like entrepreneurship. If you look at every movie, who is the villain of every single movie? It's always the rich, evil billionaire, right? Like from a young age, like I was watching Lorax with my kids. I'm so excited for this new Disney movie. I started watching. I was like, oh, basically the entrepreneur is the devil, right? And so that's the thing we're feeding our kids from a very young age. So we got fed our entire life. So now we're like, I'm gonna make some money, but the subconscious is like, but that's evil. And you have this disconnect, right? Consciously you want to do this thing, you think you can change the world, but subconsciously you think that if you become a billionaire and make a bunch of money, you're gonna become evil. And so then you start fighting it. And guess what wins? The default mode network always wins. Okay, that's the reality. I'm gonna show you guys a really quick clip. This guy here, this is in one of my inner circle meetings. We were talking about subconscious mind and trying to explain this to people so they understood, because every time you make a decision, instantly, in fact, before you make the decision, your subconscious mind has already got a story that is feeding up to you. And if that story is negative, it's going to be very hard for you to do it. So this is Tyler Watson. He's one of my favorite people in our inner circle. Check out this. He's going to do a really quick little demo with this guy to show how these subconscious patterns in our default mode network are inside of our body. We're not even aware of them half the time. And it's the thing that's actually keeping us from having success after we choose the goal. So check this out.
So Elsie Lincoln Benedict, do you guys know who she is yet?
Yeah, she's awesome.
The fact that most of you guys know who she is insane. Nobody knew who she was a month ago. Like, she is one of the greatest authors of all time. But she's book number 1 in Secret Success. We're doing a book called, there's a book set she wrote, 14 little booklets called How to Get Anything. And it's fascinating. And what was really cool for me, and we had this conversation earlier, because this is what he teaches and talks about, which is, I'm still trying to figure out anyway. Again, I'm in this journey right now, but almost every other book I've read, Think and Grow Rich and all the other ones, talk so much about like you think and you change, you think and you change. When Elsie starts, book number 1 was not about thinking. In fact, she says thinking is not the thing that will change anything. She's like, what changes things is your moods or your feelings or your state, which is really fascinating. And I read booklet number 1 2 or 3 times, and then I had a call with Annie Grace for the book club, and we got deeper on it. And what was interesting, like the thing I got was like in any situation, like there's a feeling you have about it, right? And so I started thinking about all the things. In fact, I like wrote down everyone in my family, like my kids, my wife. And I was like, what's the feeling associated? And I think about my wife, I think about one thing. I think about one of my kids, another kid. Like I think about Nora differently than Bowen or 8. Like they all different, but I was like feeling like interesting. I feel something different for each of them. And I started thinking about circumstances, like going to the office, going back home, going to the library, going like, what are the feelings I feel when I go to wrestling, when I go to the gym? And like I was like constantly trying to notice like what are the actual feelings or moods, or what Tony Robbins would call state. Like what's the state I feel when I think about the thing? And anyway, if you listen to the interview with Annie, she was dropping Annie's stats, which were really cool. One of them was like, she said, is Annie in the room by chance? Oh crap, she can fact check me. What did you say? You said 7 seconds before the feeling comes, your subconscious mind. Is that what it was?
You have the feeling 7 seconds before the thought.
Okay, yeah, you have the feeling 7 seconds before the thought. So like before I'm thinking about money, I'm automatically like, the feeling's coming 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm thinking about money, boom, and it's already there. Like it showed up. And so your question about like money, like how do you overcome money beliefs? Like that's it. It's like, how do you feel about money? I saw Tyler do it at Ray's event. Who did you have up there? It was someone from the audience, right? And he muscle tested. He's like, how do you feel about making $100,000 a year? And she's like, oh, he's like, how do you feel making $1 million a year? And Muscle, she's like, who? He's like, your body does not believe it. Like you're like internally feeling like you can't do it, or 10 million or whatever, right? And my guess is for you, if you're stuck at 10, do you want to muscle test him right now?
Yeah.
Wait, let's find out where he's stuck at right now. Give him a round of applause.
I love muscle testing. This is going to be fun.
Okay, sweet. All right, so
we're coming close to 2 million this year. Not stuck at 10. Wish that was a problem.
There's difference between making that and keeping it.
Okay.
So then, which one do you want to work on? Keeping more or making more? Or both?
Both.
Okay, let's check it. All right. Okay, so the principle here is what Russell's saying is that feeling comes first. So it's stuck in the body, and your body can't lie. So this is gonna be fun. So let's do it. All right. Hold strong. Don't let me push. Hold. Good. All right. I want you to think about making. Is it 2 million? This next one? 3.
What's that?
What's the next one?
We're doing 2 this year.
So you want to do 3?
No, I'd like to do
10?
5 million next year.
Okay. So think about making 5 million. Just think about it.
Okay.
Hold strong. Hold. Okay. So even just the thought of it right there, his body is giving a little bit of weakness. So we could do different things like, I'm worthy of keeping 5 million. Hold. Way weaker. So I'm capable of making 5 million. Hold. It's actually super strong. Hold. So his body's like, I'm capable, but somewhere saying, oh, not worthy.
Isn't that fascinating? So he was capable, but didn't feel worthy of it. Okay, subconscious pattern. It could be from his parents, from TV, from his, whatever it was, for years of his life. These patterns have been happening. So many guys, you set this conscious goal, a thing you want, but then subconsciously you don't feel ready or worthy or like all these things. So questions like, well, how do you rewrite your subconscious brain? How do you get those things so that you're in alignment with your goals and your subconscious is like, yes, I believe in it. I'm good. Let's build the rut. Okay. And I wish I'm technically out of time. We're going to go a little further because I got one more thing I want to show you guys that should help in this process, okay? Actually, before I show this video clip, one thing that Elsie Lincoln Benedict, who I mentioned, she's one of my favorite authors, she talked about, she's like, one problem is like, we're always doing the same pattern. She's like, the rut gets deeper and deeper. And she's like, if you were to stop, right? And what'll happen is like the rut will over time grow back up and then you got to create new patterns, new habits, right? So it's like, we have to stop the beliefism and start creating these new patterns, like consciously deciding like, I need to create this new pattern because this one is not serving me anymore. Okay. Now Earl Nightingale is going to go a little deeper on this. This is the second part from The Strangest Secret I want to share with you. And this is going to go a little deeper into the subconscious mind, and the way he explains it is really, really beautiful. So check this out.
Now, how does it work? Why do we become what we think about? Well, I'll tell you how it works as far as we know. Now, to do this, I want to tell you about a situation that parallels the human mind. Suppose a farmer has some land, and it's good fertile land. Now, the land gives the farmer a choice. He may plant in that land whatever he chooses. The land doesn't care. It's up to the farmer to make the decision. Now remember, we're comparing the human mind with the land because the mind, like the land, doesn't care what you plant in it. It will return what you plant, but it doesn't care what you plant. Now let's say that the farmer has 2 seeds in his hand. One is a seed of corn. The other is nightshade, a deadly poison. He digs 2 little holes in the earth and he plants both seeds, one corn, the other nightshade. He covers up the holes, waters, and takes care of the land, and what will happen? Invariably, the land will return what's planted. As it's written in the Bible, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Now remember, the land doesn't care. It'll return poison in just as wonderful abundance as it will corn. So up come the 2 plants, one corn, one poison. Now the human mind is far more fertile, far more incredible and mysterious than the land, but it works the same way. It doesn't care what we plant. Success, failure. A concrete, worthwhile goal, or confusion. Misunderstanding, fear, anxiety, and so on. But what we plant, it must return to us. You see, the human mind is the last great unexplored continent on Earth. It contains riches beyond our wildest dreams. It will return anything we want to plant.
Okay, so the answer, you guys, is your mind's going to return what you plant. Okay. Right now, it's harvesting the subconscious patterns. The default mode networks bring these up from a lifetime of you planting stuff. So number one is you have to stop planting those things, right? It's hard at first to even know what it is. So the way I do it is I look at who's already achieved the thing I want to do, right? This is why I'm obsessed with books and studying and learning. Not so much that I'm trying to learn from these people, learn like step by step what to do, but I'm trying to figure out who already believes the thing that I need to believe. And I want to be around that person. I want to listen to them. I want to start planting those seeds over and over and over and over again, right? We we have to consciously stand like at a guard for our subconscious mind. So our subconscious mind is whatever plant there is going to grow. So if you're watching bad movies, I tell my kids, like, you listen to bad music, you're planting these things and it's growing. Like you can't help but reap the rewards or the downfall because of that over time. So you have to be very, very careful, but understand, like, for me, it's like I surround myself with people who already believed what I need to believe, right? And I do identity osmosis. Like, I'm going to read their books, listen to podcasts, talk to them on the phone, like whatever I can do. Okay. What's powerful about the Funnel Builder community is like the people that are in there. There are people at all different levels, right? People who came in who didn't have the belief in themselves or whatever it was, right? But they plugged into other people. They were on the calls. They paid attention. And so they started getting this belief from other people and starts rewriting subconscious beliefs. Like, man, that person did that person. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. And then the more you do it, it's like you start building these ruts and you're trying and you're doing it in a spot where it's scary, it's new, it's different, but you're not alone, right? You're borrowing these identities. You're borrowing these beliefs from people who are in your community and your peer groups. There's a reason why they say, like, you are the average of your 5 closest friends, right? You're the average income of your 5 closest friends, the average weight of your 5 closest friends, right? Because you're borrowing identity and belief from people that you are around. And so by upgrading and coming into a new community, people with higher beliefs and different beliefs and plugging in, and from the people who are a step ahead of you or 2 steps ahead of you, like, listen to them when they're doing the calls and they're plugging in, like, find out what they believe and why they believe it. And the more you are around that, the more you start believing in yourself. The more these subconscious false beliefs will die away and these new patterns, these new things will become your new default mode network. Okay. When I first started my business, I didn't have this default mode network. If anything I touch is going to turn to gold, right? The Midas touch, right? I didn't have that. Okay. And so I had to look like I would study people who did have it. I'd pick these gurus, these mentors, I'd buy their courses, I'd invest in them because I knew they had that faith and belief. And I would try to like plug into them as much as I could, so I get their seeds planting into my brain to eventually became easier and easier. And now I look at myself, I'm 25 years in this business and I literally believe I have the Midas touch. I was like, I can take any business, any idea, anything. If I touch it, it'll turn into money. Like, in this one thing, my subconscious mind and my conscious mind are in complete agreement. I know and I believe myself 100%. Now, other parts of my life, I'm not this way. I'm still working on a lot of other things, but in this one thing, I know. Okay. And so for you, it's got to be the same thing, becoming aware of it, right? When you say, I want to hit this goal, man, I'm feeling some stuff that's coming up, right? How many guys did that? You set the goal, you signed up, you posted the picture, and then you start freaking out, right? And these things are happening subconsciously. It's true for all of us. It's okay. Just understand, like, that's years of programming, your default mode network, that are holding you back. It's like, hey, I'm going to beat this. I'm going to be above it. Who's already beaten it? Let me plug in those people. Let me get into the communities and get around the calls, the phone call, like whatever it is, and start getting belief from other people around you until you get your own. Borrow theirs, get their own, and you start rewriting these subconscious beliefs to the point where it's like, I can do this too. I just did it. That person, like all my friend gurus do, I'm just like them. I can do it. And it starts breaking these things and shifting them. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Again, I would love to go on for like 10 hours on this kind of stuff, but unfortunately I'm already 5 over from what I'm allowed to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed VIP this week. If you've enjoyed VIP this week, type in VIP in the comments. I want to see our VIPs. I had a lot of fun with you guys, so I appreciate y'all being here and jumping in. It means the world to me. It also means you're a ClickFunnels user, which is the best part of it all. Even if you don't have a chance to join certification, you have the tool now that gives you the ability to write your own paycheck for the rest of your life. So again, I want to keep encouraging you guys to join the certification program, be part of this community. But if you're not able to, for whatever reason, don't give up on this, okay? You are here for a reason, okay? 3,000 plus 2 Comma Club awards. There's a process, there's a path. You just keep going and keep doing these things, keep studying, keep learning, right? You guys got access to to all the Funnel Hacking Live presentations over the last decade. You got access to a whole bunch of other cool training. Like don't leave this community. Don't leave this feeling. Immerse yourself. As a VIP, you already have a ClickFunnels account. Take advantage of it. Go start building stuff. Okay. If you're building for clients, be in the certification program. If you're just trying to figure out, like, either way, like, don't leave this community. Don't unplug. You take a coal out of a fire, it eventually cools down. But you keep it in the fire, it continues to grow. And that's what we want for you guys. So, all right, I got to go because we're getting started in like 9 minutes to the general session. And I got to go finish my slides. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little behind. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I hope you had a great VIP, and I'll see y'all back here in 9 minutes. All right. Thanks, everybody.